We've just been to see Terrifier.
3.
Day release.
Was it?
Yeah, came out today.
Wow. Look at us. Quick on the mark.
If you don't know who this person is, this is my partner, also known as Sour on YouTube. So we've just been to see Terrifier 3. We're just going to be talking about our thoughts about it. So should we just get into a little bit about our sort of thoughts on the previous Terrifiers?
That sounds like a good place to start. I thought I'd do like a 90s presenter, like Blue. Oh, we could do like Blue Peter. Here's one we prepared earlier. No, these are the thoughts of the third one.
So what's your thoughts on the previous Terrifiers?
Well, we watched the first one. That was fine. I can't remember exactly what I rated it at the time.
A high number. And
A 7 or an 8,
yeah.
maybe.
And you're quite a critical person.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was gritty. It felt real. I started getting a bit weird in places, but I was like, no, I'm riding with it. And then I didn't like the ending that much.
Yeah, no, I really like the first one, and I like how low budget it is, and
They knew what they wanted to do with it from the start.
yeah.
Yeah.
Terrifier 2.
No, not for me.
I like it. I mean, I've had the Clown Cafe song stuck in my head for about 3 weeks.
Stuck in your head implies like it's going on inside your head, but it's not. It's going on vocally around the house. That's not inside your head.
Yeah,
That's stuck inside your throat.
But I try and restrict myself because you really didn't like it. So it's always playing in my head.
Wow. That sounds like torturous. A bit like how I felt watching the film. I didn't like it. Terrifier 2, more like Terrifier poo.
So what made you not like Terrifier 2 as opposed to how much you liked Terrifier 1?
It became stupid. I think because they set up the thing about him not being able to die, I lost all interest in like the horror of the actual character. Because you think that he can't die, what's the point?
But you get that a lot in other movies, you know, things like, you know, characters like Michael Myers and Jason and Chucky. You know, they are characters that have died many times.
But that's the thing, that's the thing though, isn't it? That's the thing. I fall off the bandwagon of Halloween after 2, because you can kind of suspend your belief between 1 and 2, but when he keeps coming back, I'm bored of it. He's not scary anymore. Boring. Chucky does die. And yes, he comes back, but you kind of think, he's finding new ways, but he can die. This character is a bit like Elmo on Elm Street, because
Elmo on Elm Street.
You can't kill him, or so it seems. You can't. He's just a demon.
I think the way we should do when we're talking about Terrifier 3, I think we should do a non-spoiler beginning and then talk about spoilers later on.
Non-spoilers.
So starting off with the non-spoilers of Terrifier 3, I really like how it's shot kind of the same way as they all have, if that makes any sense.
The direction has stayed true. He hasn't flipped up on himself. He hasn't changed the game.
Yeah.
He stayed true to himself, no matter the amount of money that they throw at him. There's a certain colour grading to the Terrifier, especially 2 and 3. I feel like 1 didn't have it as much. But
No, Terrifier 1 had that weird blue.
yeah, it was a bit more blue because it was like dark night time. But they're a very specific colour grade.
And this one is done really well in terms of cinematography. You can really tell how much bigger of a budget that they had with making the third one. I just feel like we can tell, like, in terms of quality compared to the first one.
Yeah, but that sound design, bad.
Yeah.
Bad.
I'm getting to that. But
Bad though, it's bad. And I'm sorry, you know, it's hard work doing sound design. Step it up though, that was bad. Maybe an off day for you. But I don't know. It was noticeably bad.
And if you've come to watch this video because you like Terrifier, or people know about Terrifier, that's why they're watching this video, you've got to expect that it's going to be really gory. It's going to be completely over the top gore and blood.
And not just blood. Everything else.
Yeah, everything else.
That comes out of you.
Everything that comes out of the human body.
If you can imagine everything inside your human body, it comes out.
Terrifier definitely has a name for itself in terms of it makes Saw look like rom-com in terms of how gory Terrifier is.
Yeah, but then that's the issue I have with the Terrifier. I feel like it borders on getting a bit stupid. It borders on more of those like last sort of films, you know. It just gets too much. I'm bored. I'm like, yeah, okay. You just expect it, you know. You go, oh, I know what's coming.
I do feel like in terms of the gore, it's so over the top that it does take me out of the film because of how gory it is. I think I'm really desensitized to a lot of gore. So I feel like how over the top it is and how gory it is, it really takes me out of it feeling real in a sense. David Howard Thornton plays Art the Clown exceptionally well in this film. You know, he says a lot without saying anything.
Expressions. He's like a Muppet. You know what Kermit's thinking the whole time.
Yeah.
But he only moves his little mouth.
So now we're going to get into spoilers and juicy bits. So if you haven't already seen Terrifier 3 and want to watch it, I highly suggest you click off and come back to this video once you've watched it. We will be sat here waiting for you to come back.
I don't want to wait that long.
Well, you're going to have to.
But what if that person has work? They watch this on a Monday, and then they've got work until Friday. They go see it on a Friday evening.
Yeah, well, we're going to be having to wait here for that long. That's just the way it is. You have to get over it, really. So before going into this film, we saw there was a lot of promotion about how many people walked out of the premiere within the first 10 minutes.
But I think it's always overhyped. Horror movies are always overhyped. I don't know who these people are going into the cinema and passing out and like
going into a Terrifier 3 premiere. Because it's not like it's the first one. You know, like, and they've never seen a Terrifier movie before. You know, like, yeah.
Maybe they haven't.
Yeah, maybe, but yeah, I don't think it was anywhere near as bad as I expected going into it. I think if you're really sensitive to, like, child violence, this definitely is not the film for you. There is quite a few times throughout Terrifier 3 where children actually get harmed. And in the first 10 minutes there's a bit where the parent goes down to leave milk and cookies.
Well, don't say it how you don't change your accent just because I'm here.
Milk and cookies out because a child believes that Santa has come to visit. And it isn't Santa, it is in fact Art the Clown. And once he's done chopping people up and doing all of the fun stuff that he would do, he then sort of switches and does the dishes and...
Yeah, he eats the cookies and then he cleans up the plate. The bit I didn't like about that bit is that then after that scene it says, does it say 5 years prior?
Yeah, so it goes back to the end of Terrifier 2.
And then it goes back forward. I don't like that. Because then it just says present day. Oh, I didn't like that. When did that take place then? I've lost all sense of time. Because you're starting at somewhere, going back 5 years and then just saying present day. Well, so you've got to assume that those two things happened at the same time, but at what point did those things happen? I'm saying it starts with that scene in the house of the people we don't know, and then it goes back, and then it goes forward and ignores that bit. So when's that? Yeah. Because it doesn't really... When does he go and do that little side quest?
It's got to be before It's got to be obviously before the end, but after most of the film, because
Right,
the bar
exactly.
scene. Yeah.
Right, and I just.
Of course, because it goes back 5 years, we get to see how it all sort of ends, I guess, in the asylum, with Chris Jericho.
All Elite Wrestling's Chris Jericho.
Yeah. So I think everybody was sort of expecting something with Chris Jericho.
Oh, I think everyone was waiting for him to get his face ripped off, and then he did. He got his face ripped off.
Yeah.
Which I think the wrestling fans these days would be quite happy with.
Yeah.
Which I think is unfair. He's good.
Is he though?
I don't want these unpopular opinions on your video. You'll get comments from wrestling fans being like, that guy's an idiot. He likes Chris Jericho, what an arse. He's fine. He's fine. You know?
You also get to see Vicky or Victoria, which was the only surviving character in Terrifier 1. I like that in Terrifier 3 we do see her a lot more.
And she's taken over the role of that little girl from 2.
The demon girl. Because,
yeah.
I mean, in the asylum you see her eyes light up bright yellow and...
Yeah, I'm not sure. And these are the things that lose me in this film. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It starts getting all demon and possession and I don't know.
It does get a little bit convoluted.
I think the issue is, and I think this happens, is that I don't think there was a particular plan with the first one. Mm-hmm. It was just a standalone, we'll just chuck it at the wall, right, and see what sticks almost. I feel like they've been trying to kind of draw to plot points with things that needed to, and it's just a bit much. Mm-hmm. It all just feels a bit crazy, and I don't know. It's not for me. And
again, I do love how over the top art is.
Yeah, I'd never fault these films for not being creative because they are. Mm-hmm. It's just. And
like I say, the train with the head, like the guy's head on Art's body. That was really funny and interesting.
I do think that's something they can be quite funny. Mm-hmm. These films.
And that's what I was saying, is because of how gory it is and how over the top it is. It really takes me out of how gory and serious this is, because it's not. Like, it's quite comedic, and I feel like that's...
But it doesn't ever get to, like, horror comedy, I don't think.
No.
Which I think is maybe a shame. I think maybe they should do an Evil Dead 3.
Yeah.
I think they did their attempt at making it really scary horror in 1.
They're going to Sam Raimi it.
They should. I think they should. Because, it gets too silly. That's the whole thing with Evil Dead 2. Mm-hmm. There's so much blood that it's like, this is ridiculous. And then 3, knights. Do that. Do Art the Clown in a knight's helmet.
I'm gonna love to see that.
Let's do that with swords and stuff. That would fit though with some of the theming. Mm-hmm. Let's do it.
Can we talk about Art's costume in this movie?
Santa.
Well, yeah, it was Santa, but it was like really
baggy Santa. Fat baggy Santa.
I really liked his costume in this. I think he really suited it. He suited the Santa look, and like somebody's ripped off beard along the chin, along his chin. I think when I first seen him in the trailer looking like that, I was like, this is ridiculous. But actually, when I was watching it, I was like, he really suits it. And just that whole scene of where he sees the guy in the Santa suit in the bar.
That's a funny scene, and he's getting excited about it.
Like, that was a really, really funny scene, and I really, really liked that. Again, like I say, with David Howard Thornton, he can tell 1,000 words by not seeing anything at all. His performance was incredible. One thing that really griped me about this movie is the over-the-top sound effects in this film.
Yeah, well, that's what I said. Bad sound design.
There is a particular scene where somebody is slicing up their arm, and you just hear really loudly, you hear bone crunching, and
it's sometimes the Foley doesn't match what's actually happening. it doesn't. Sometimes it almost sounds too over the top sometimes, and it doesn't match what's actually on screen. You think, oh, I don't know if that would make that sound.
Yeah. Yeah, like I say, I think the sound design, it was a little bit, you know.
Sound design is an unsung hero because when it's like CGI. When it's done well, you don't notice it, but when it's bad, you sit and you go, oh. That.
Yeah. And I'm never one to pick up on things like that.
Well, so that's what I'm saying. It was quite poor.
And of course, they had to include the Clown Cafe song, in some way over in Terrifier 3, which you absolutely loved. And I like that it was originally like a Christmas jingle, and then all of a sudden it was the Clown Cafe song, and then it was her singing it. You know, it was the actual song itself.
Yeah, but see, I didn't like that. I didn't think the transition between the two things wasn't very good. I don't think. Like it was like a Christmassy version of it, and then suddenly it became her singing it, and the transition between the two. I'm being quite critical on the sound design and the music and things. There's some music in there that I think is really.
Apologise for the fireworks if you can hear them.
There's some music in there that I think is really good. Very strange, like, music. Reminds me of Christabel, who does the Smile soundtrack, and it did the Utopia soundtrack. It's very strange sounds. That sounds good.
I also like that we got to see my favourite character from the second one, the second Terrifier, when Sienna is seeing her dead friend. I think she was one of my favourite characters in Terrifier 2, so it was nice to see her come back, even for just a little thing. Yeah. Do you have anything to say about the mall scene? Fireworks, man.
It was surprising, to be fair. I don't think I was like. Not that I'd advocate for child violence, but you don't really see it in horror films that often. Like, I think it is a taboo. So it was surprising. Does that mean it was good? Not necessarily, but it was surprising.
Because that's the thing, when art comes out and starts giving these children like soft toys and, you know, like loads of stuff, it made me doubt his character for a second, because I thought, is he actually like giving these kids nice things?
Yeah, I thought maybe they were going to show like a layer to his character or something. I don't know.
But then obviously the kid opens the box and it blows up. Yeah.
But let's talk about the best scene. The only scene I really enjoyed. Because all I've got written on this piece of paper is it says it's only fair, and a crude drawing. But that was the best scene, the shower scene.
I think there's a few top contenders in Terrifier 3. They say the bar scene and the mall scene. I quite liked both of them as well. Like, probably as equal as I liked the shower scene. The two characters that are in the shower scene, basically, Jonathan is at university, and his roommate and his roommate's girlfriend. And
they're in the shower, and she's made some comments about... I mean, at this point, if you're watching, you should have seen the film, so you know what we're talking about. The girl, she does some podcast. She's one of them true crime and annoying people. And she's like, oh, I just want to be in the presence of him. I just want to know how it would feel. And then so Art comes and saws her nipples off.
And what's really funny is that she has this whole like dialogue for a minute before the shower scene, or just before the shower scene, where she's talking about how she wants to be in the presence of Art, and he's there behind like the wall, like listening in, and he's like, again with his expressions, is just going way over the top about everything that she's saying, and it was just really, really funny.
And then he comes with a saw, right across the nips, right up the guy's back end.
And what's really interesting though is that we were talking about this like as we came out the movie. It's like one of the main things that stuck with us was that these two people that got brutally murdered, they were killed the same way as like the most gruesome deaths in Terrifier 1 and Terrifier 2. Because like, was there a bit where like her hair came off and stuff, and it was like the kill from Terrifier 2?
Mm.
And obviously we know about the one, like the more common one, the more well-known one in Terrifier 1 with the woman upside down.
But I felt like that it all made sense because she'd gone on and on about the whole movie, that she knows everything and she studied all of the details and etc. And then he's almost redoing versions of kills he's done before on them. So yeah, that was a fine scene.
A good nod to the other ones as well, I think. Can we just talk about the end as well, like the end scene with Sienna and the family that she's staying with, or is that auntie?
It's her aunt, yeah. I'd rather not. It was bad. Frankly, it was bad. It reminded me so much of Halloween. Is it Halloween Ends? It's that fight scene at the end with Jamie Lee Curtis. Awful, bad. It's just bad. I don't need like a big fight scene. It's just weird. I don't get it. And and the little girl, I didn't like particularly.
I think she had really out of touch dialogue with when interacting with other people. I think her dialogue to others was quite.
Yeah, and I'm not even. I don't, and I'm sure you're not, but not specifically saying she was bad at acting. You know, one, she's a child, and two.
But it's been like that in the other Terrifier movies with weird dialogue.
I just think sometimes the dialogue in general isn't written particularly well.
Mhm.
And I felt like, I don't know, I feel like in a film like that, you're meant to go, oh, I understand why, you know, that she's doing such a big thing for this character.
Mhm.
I feel like really that character maybe was meant to be Elliot Fulham's character.
Yeah.
But he obviously was busy because he was not in the film very much.
No.
And I think it would have been better if that was him.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you'd had the second one to build up their relationship, and now you can watch the third one as that all kind of goes down the drain.
Because for the first like 10 minutes of us being introduced to this character, I was like, who the hell is this?
Yeah, it felt forced. It felt forced and a bit like you need to care about this little girl, and I didn't, because there wasn't enough build up and there wasn't enough anything. She just seemed annoying. She was going through like all this everyone's stuff, and like it was just, that's not a fun character trait.
Yeah. And I think with the end as well, there is bits of it that I do like. I like that it's primarily, you know, Vicky and Art. And I mean, Art's really more doing stuff in the back and just doing his own thing. Whereas Vicky is the sort of forefront of the ending, which I didn't expect for one. And I quite like that. It's like not actually just really Art and he's just doing his own thing.
Mm.
You know, like Vicky is the one trying to possess Sienna, and Art's just there chilling in the background, like with intestines and like, you know.
Yum. Yum.
Like I think there's bits of it that I do like about it.
I just feel like if you're gonna do that, you gotta go with it, and they haven't gone with it. Mm. They're like hinting at it, and I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Do Terrifier, Army of Darkness. Done. I'd be on board with that. If they just went for an idea, I'd be on board with it. I think that's why I liked 1, because it felt like it's an idea and they're just sticking with that idea. And then 2 and 3 felt like they're not 100% sure what the idea is. So just do that. Do Terrifier, Army of Darkness.
Starring Bruce Campbell and David Howard Thornton.
It's easily done, I reckon.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the character development with Sienna? Like how, you know, from her end, I mean, obviously she's going to be having some PTSD about everything that happened, and I like that we saw a lot of that.
I feel like it was rushed. I don't know, I feel like there was maybe too much stuff in the film that didn't need to be in the film and could have been replaced with like building building blocks for other stuff. Because by the end of the film, that last scene, I felt like it came out of absolutely nowhere. And I thought, okay, this is going to be like a really crazy vision that she's having, and then it's going to go back and she's going to be like, oh my god, they're coming.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. That was the end of the film. And I thought, okay, that really literally came out of nowhere.
I think they answered a lot of questions from what we had over the previous Terrifier movies, but give us 50 million other questions.
Yeah.
So, and I as far as I'm aware, Terrifier 4 has been greenlit.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
I think. Run down the Clown Cafe.
Right, that's it. That's it. You've had my time. Thank you.
So, what would you rate this out of 10? What is your rating?
Out of the cinema, straight out of the cinema, it was a 5. We have a group chat, movie reviews, group chat, and I said 5. It's gone down to a 4. Talking about it now, it's gone down to a 4. I didn't like it.
I think that when you were saying is the only thing that you actually really like in this movie, other than what we've already talked about, is art.
I appreciate the art. Like they've done a very good job at creating, for the first time in a long time, a horror
icon. Really. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, and because we've had this conversation before, like who other than Art the Clown, who is the most recent iconic horror person? Because people would probably say Pennywise, but yes, Pennywise got redesigned for the remake,
but he was an icon.
He was an icon anyway. Yeah. Like,
so that's the comments. Comment down below.
Well,
who's the most recent horror icon that isn't Art the Clown?
I would give this movie 6 out of 10. Just, like I said, there was a lot that I did like. There was a lot that still I was a bit iffy on, but I enjoyed this a lot more than I enjoyed the second one. I love the sort of, I do love a good festive horror movie. I really like the combination of Christmas and horror.
And do you know what? It should have actually come out at Christmas. I don't know if there was a reason behind the scenes why it didn't, but it should have. I don't know why it didn't.
Like I said, there's a lot that I have liked about it, so yeah.
So 6 out of 10, 4 out of 10. What's your review for it?
And again, I'm sure there's a lot more we could say, but I am tired now. We've seen 2 movies today, and
we saw Transformers. Did you like Transformers?
Yes, I did like Transformers. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoy this video.